I want to know from you, what is your big, scary dream? What is your big, scary dream? Not a small dream, not a, I'll have a cup of coffee, or I'll do a speech in my club. What is those dreams, that dream you have that is way beyond anything you can imagine? It's bigger than you. And I want you, I can't ask you to share in the chat box. I would have asked, share. Share with your friends, get out there and talk about it, because you're going to see in the speech why it's so important. And my second thing too is why. Why is this big, scary dream so important to you? You see, fellow Toastmasters, if my dream is fueled by a powerful why, I'm going to go for it. Agreed? Yes? If it scares me, but I want the fear of regret to be bigger than the fear of loss, failure, or rejection. And if you can get to that part, come on, jump on the car with me. Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride. You're not going to forget. And I want the chat box, wherever you can, put the following quote. Success leaves clues. Success leaves clues. Jim Rohn. Today, I'm going to leave crumbs and things for you to pick up. Watch the story and watch how it wraps up at the end. I know a lady, an astonishing woman. Her name is Jane. And 8 years ago, Jane made, let's call it a poor decision. That decision meant giving up her job because of a big dispute at work, thinking she had it all sorted out. She signed up an agency with Holland, and she was signed up till she was 65 years old. She thought she was fantastically clever in her whole plan. She entered the comfort zone. She was sorted, no more worries. You see, it looked beautiful, that picture. But what happened is that agency, unfortunately, wasn't that ethical. And they dropped her 3 months later. Over the next 3 years, she lost everything she had. She had to sell her house, her car. She had to sell everything. She didn't even have electricity, power, whatever we were going to use. And she had to keep her dogs alive. She was on the bones of her tail feathers. And her friends and family and those around saw her dying. She went down to about 48 kilograms. She was this thin, not eating. The stress and strain of the loss was getting to her. All she wanted was to die. There was nothing left. But there was one dream, TEDx. And everywhere she went, she would look all over for webinars and places to speak and groups to join and all sorts of things. And she repeated over and over, TEDx, the dream of TEDx. I could see the TEDx stage. It was so repetitive. I'm sure it was kind of annoying for a lot of people. They were like, I've heard it already. Stop now. And then one day, 5 years ago, she woke up and she made a decision. You know, those defining moments, those aha moments. She woke up and said, I am going to make my life count. I'm going to make my life count. She got up from the wallowing, got off the victim bed, got off all that. That was where she was literally enroped and embodied inside this incredible depression. And she started to make a plan. That day, she started putting all the bits together. How would she leave a place called Bloemfontein, which is in central South Africa, and get to Johannesburg with no money, 2 dogs? Maybe there was a lot of other things. There was a lot of loss. There was a lot that had to be got rid of, a lot of pain, a lot of goodbyes. But in her heart, she had the fuel of her why. The TEDx. But why? Because she wanted her story to be told in the world. She wanted to help other people that were battling with similar things to what she was going through. And she knew that that was one way to do it. Even if it was one person, it was enough. And through some of the most toughest decisions, she got herself to Johannesburg, had to live in a small little dingy room, had to rebuild with nothing, find her first job. And one day, friends felt pity, total pity for her, and invited her to a restaurant. It was a Sunday, it was an autumn day. And she then walked up and met a woman called Sharon. This woman was a distinguished Toastmaster. And this lady said to her, "What is your dream? Do you know?" And she said, "I want to be a TEDx speaker." And she said, "What are you doing about it? How far away is that goal?" So I said, "It's not looking too good." And she said, "Does anyone, have you had any speaking engagements?" "Yes," I said. "Do you get invited back?" "No." She said, "But maybe you're not as good as you think. Come to a Toastmasters meeting. Come on. I think you're going to get closer to that goal of yours if you come and join our club." And so this woman arrived days later, the first Toastmaster meeting. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you who she is. She's me. My second name is Jane." It was me. And I absolutely immersed myself in that program completely and utterly with one goal. Every speech I gave, up to 3 to 5 speeches a week. I took criticism, I took feedbacks, I took everything that came my way. I was hungry inside. I had a strong why. And I completely took everything that came away as a yes. Yes. Opportunity, yes. Do you want to do this? Yes. I didn't know the word no, because I was absolutely committed. I sent so many applications for TEDx. It's actually not even funny. And eventually a man from Brighton called Toby Moore got hold of me and said, "Stop it. You're desperate. Stop chasing TEDx. Sort out your message, sort out your presentation style, become a better speaker, and a TEDx will find you." Ladies and gentlemen, that didn't go down too well. I'm sure you can understand that, but it was the truth. And I really applied myself. And one day I was asked for a launch meeting, when the clubs are about to charter, that launch meeting they have. And I was asked to do the final segment. And I gave the part of the speech before the TEDx is what I delivered for that club that you've now heard. But I showed up. I was showing up everywhere. I'd given up chasing TEDx, and I was committed to my craft, committed to self-mastery. And 2 days later, an email arrives in my inbox from the organizer for Swakopmund, which is in in Namibia, which is on the west coast of Southern Africa. "Lucinda, please, will you be a speaker at my event?" That is how it looked. It came. But it came because of the hours of work. That speech alone, I practiced over 20 times. I got so polished and I was so committed that I actually created that opportunity and I seized that opportunity. I got to Swakopmund. I delivered the speech and we had to keep changing the times. We were in the middle of COVID in 2020. But I showed up I had to travel. You have to wear swabs in and out. I didn't know if you'd get there, not get there. And it didn't matter. It was my moment. It was the big dream. It was that dream was bigger than myself. When I got there and I finished, I got off the stage, it's like, what was all of that about? Like, what? It's not so big. It's a big deal. So like, what's next? You see, the biggest thing you don't want to do is chase a dream and then drop off afterwards. You've got to keep rolling with your goals, because after an event like that, your energy drops. And it's a normal thing that happens. And that's one thing I do want to warn you about, is become goal driven, but not fixated with one dream only. And before you finish and you culminate one dream, have the next one and the next goal, so you don't jump off the cliff and you fall down into some sort of depression afterwards. So in this time period, I also completed 2 Distinguished Toastmaster Awards, one in Southern Africa, one in the United Kingdom. I wrote my one and only book called Go Shake the Trees. I get to speak, I get to facilitate, and I get trained internationally. So if you look at it, anything is possible. Can you agree with that? Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. And I believe in success leaves clues. Follow the people that achieve what you want to, or attach yourself close to them in their circle, because you automatically are going to then achieve those goals that you want to achieve. And there are 3 important tips I want to leave you with today: intentional action, discipline, and commitment. Intentional action comes down to this. First of all, you have to have that outcome. You've got to know what it is, right? And then you need to map back to the first step. And you have to be super clear. You have to define it down to the line. What does it look like? What is it? And it's not just a TEDx. It's about strategy. It's about being absolutely in your own mind, clear, crystal clear. Do you think I'm speaking here by accident today? No, there's a reason I chose to come here. There's a reason I'm speaking at District 109, doing a workshop, and then District 7 in America. Everything I do is intentionally thought out. Every action is from a place where I know exactly what I'm doing, because energy matters. If I'm all over the show and I'm giving things all over the place and I'm not focused and I don't focus my energy, I'm not going to achieve much. And we need to be focused in our lives, crystal clear about what we want, know the steps we're going to take, and we need to step up. You need to step up in your life if you want to take intentional action. If I'm going to sit and dream about it and I'm sitting there on a chair, I'm never going to go anywhere. But if I'm intentional and I'm doing something about it and I'm taking that action, nothing's going to get in my way, especially if I'm watching the right people. And the company I have, the sphere around me, my circle, is one that supports me on my road and is there to guide and celebrate my success. That second part is discipline and determination. This organization taught me that in a big way. I was undisciplined. I got into a lot of trouble in my early days in Toastmasters. A lot. I was called in, I got reprimanded. I was called in for like little chat, all sorts of things. I like to be in my t-shirt and my jeans and my slip-flops, flip-flops. I don't know what you call that, sandals. I just didn't want to be tamed. I didn't want to be particularly cooperative to the system. Let's put it that way. But it's because I was given that discipline by my mentor at the time, Sharon, who first took me under wing and said, you need to get disciplined. You need to stop becoming the victim. Get out of it. You're not going to go anywhere with those two things if you're not absolutely clear on your journey. And it comes down to absolutely in your life, no matter what happens, no matter what goes wrong, can go wrong, you never give up, right? And you never, ever, ever give in. And it doesn't matter what happens around you. You've got the discipline, the determination that will drive you, fueled with that why, to achieve whatever you want. And that third part is about commitment. Wholehearted. Feel your hearts. Feel this thing here. It's a miracle. Got a heart, pumps, without even asking. And we often don't connect enough with our hearts. And this is where the why sits. It's something that we really connect with deep in our hearts. It takes courage. It takes a lot of courage to get up every day, doesn't it? Especially when things are going well, when things aren't going well, when things aren't looking that great. You can feel discouraged, disheartened, frustrated, angry, bitter, resentful. All those things, right? But they don't help you to succeed. And it's that courage that no matter what life throws at you, you don't actually, that loss, that rejection, that failure, you just wipe it off and laugh and go, hey, it's part of life. I just need to redirect. I need to rethink what I'm doing. And it's never the end. And you must never let it defeat you. That's where resilience comes in. And I want to tell you something that happened this week, because I just welcome rejection. I love it. Because I always say, after every rejection, I'm closer to another yes, right? I have this philosophy, and I want you to attach a philosophy. And today, even if you don't come first, you don't come second, don't come third. You know what? There's another year, there's another 10 years, there's another part of your lifetime. So I really want you to get this in your heart. I don't want you to ever fear rejection, loss, and failure. It's part of life. Make it your friend. So I got a letter from Toastmasters International saying, we're so sorry, but we're not giving you a conference speaking slot this year. Now, years ago, that would be devastating for me, right? Oh man, why did they do that? Why did they do that? And I was like, yes, that's fantastic news. Because there's something else that must be coming. There's something else that maybe meant to do that time. There's a reason. There's a reason. And I was really excited. And they said, okay, cool. Can we maybe look at a workshop somewhere in the air? I'm like, cool, that's fine. Look at a workshop in the air. But I didn't take it a bad way. I spun it. And that's the control I want you to start, or the change I want you to implement in your life. Is when bad things or not great things happen, it's an opportunity for you. For you. All of you sitting here. Christine. For Celia. For Godella. For Daniel. Iona. Look at this. Nothing is final. It's not goodbye. Keep saying yes. You never know who's watching. Today, someone here could be watching. Somebody here could talk to me within an hour, 5 days, 7 days, see me at conference at 109. Keep saying yes. You don't know who's watching. And never underestimate the power of visibility. Never. Never underestimate the power of visibility. Show up in your life, show up on LinkedIn, show up on Instagram, show up on Facebook. Show up. Because the world is watching you, right? And you never know who it is. And the other part is, I want you to know something. You know, you see all these glamorous people out there, right? You are rewarded in public. You only are rewarded in public. That which you do hard in private. Rewarded in public for that which you actually do a lot of work on in private all alone. Don't forget that. 10,000 hour rule. That's what got me here. It's not a fluke. I'm not just lucky. It was here in my heart. I dare you to dream big. I dare you to thrive. Do you get that? I dare you to thrive. And today I want you to take step one, right? To create or change that mere dream into a rip-roaring success.